All right, so you will never outwork everybody. No matter how hard you work, there's always gonna be somebody who's gonna come in and outwork you. It's just a reality. So let's get that out of the way right from the jump. Because a lot of people have this idea that no one can replace me, I can outwork anybody, no one's gonna work harder than I do. That's a lot of people's entrepreneurial attitude. They go into an entrepreneurial mindset, they think, because they're like, oh, I've been working for the man for so long. I've been working for this company, I've been working for that company. This company, I'm not advancing, right? So I quit. And then I work for this company. I worked for them 5 years. I worked for them 8 years. I'm not getting where I want, right? So people have this transition in their life where they're like, I'm gonna do better for myself. I'm gonna take this upon myself to do better because nobody's gonna outwork me. I put in so much for them and they're not giving me what I deserve. I put in so much for them, they're not giving me what I deserve. I can get it for myself because no one's gonna outdo me. That is absolutely the wrong mentality when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Now, the truth is that yes, if you feel you're in a situation where you're not being respected, you're not being honored, you're not being built up, lifted up, or you're not being compensated accordingly, yes, you should make a transition. You should do something better for yourself. Does that mean you should up and quit your job on the fly? I don't know, maybe not. Maybe. I've been there. I've literally quit a job in an instant notice. That happened once. I don't typically believe in quitting a job instantly because I believe that there's a level of work ethic that comes from giving a notice and honoring that. Your word should count for something. But if you feel like you're in a position where you're not being respected, you're not being compensated, and you're not being treated in the manner you should be treated, or you're not being afforded the opportunity to level up, you feel like you're not learning anything. You're working for a company and all you're doing is busy work. You're not actually gaining compensation or experience, because some people trade that too. They don't realize that, if you're learning a skill, that is compensation. So there's been places that will teach you on-the-job training, and that on-the-job training a lot of times is more valuable than a slight increase in your pay. Although increase in your pay and raises are nice. They are. They're always nice. I've been at lots of places and got lots of raises, and they always felt good. Even the little ones felt good. But the reality is that when you're working for a place and you're getting knowledge, that knowledge almost always outweighs that monetary value. But if you're in a place and you feel like you're getting no knowledge, you're getting no mentorship, you're not actually excelling. I mean, look at Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett went to Ben Graham and went to his, idol, his hero. And he said, hey, can I work for you? I'll work for you for free. And Ben said, no, you're overpriced. Because Ben knew in that moment that the time it would take to educate him was more valuable than what he would pay him for an hour anyways. And he's like, I'm not doing that. I don't got time for that. Now, Warren obviously talked himself into this position, and the rest is history. He was able to convince him to give him a job and mentor him, and here we are. But the thing is knowledge is valuable. And people don't, especially in our society right now, going through the economic turmoil that lots of people are facing adversity. Lots of people lost their jobs during the pandemic, and then when people went back to work, some of those jobs weren't available anymore, and some people felt like shortchanged, like they deserved something better, and they're holding out for this kind of job or that kind of job. And sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes you need to take what you have to put food on the table, and in your spare time when you're not working, work on leveling up and keep trying to get something better. So in this society and in the economic situation that a lot of people are facing right now, a lot of people are struggling with that mentality, and they think that monetary is the best possible thing. I need money. That's it, period. I need money. I need cash. I need money. I need money. And that's not wrong, but if you want to be an entrepreneur, that can't be your approach, because you're going to have to spend money to make money. You're going to lose money to get ahead. And ultimately, back to what I started with, there's always going to be someone who can outwork you. So when it comes down to it, everyone is replaceable. Now, see, this is something I've struggled with over my lifetime, because I've always walked and I've walked with that mentality and told people that. Let's say I talked with that mentality, walking and talking are two different things, because I carried this mentality with me and I told people, hey, you're replaceable. You're always replaceable. I'm replaceable. You're replaceable. But meanwhile, even though I was telling them I know I'm replaceable, I would do everything I could to make myself an asset to that company, so that company would view me as irreplaceable. Even though I viewed myself as replaceable, I wanted them to see me as irreplaceable. And see, so it was kind of like almost an inner struggle. Like I was a walking contradiction. I would tell people, of course you're replaceable, but do something. Let's do something to make ourselves. No, you can't make yourself irreplaceable. So the reality is that when you're an entrepreneur, a lot of people struggle with it. I've worked with several people. My uncle. I've worked with a couple small businesses. The reality is when you work with some of these small businesses, they transition from small to big is always a struggle. And that transition from small to big, a lot of people, they want to hold on to everything. They want to touch everything. I can't let go and let somebody else be in charge. But the reality is, if you want to grow, somebody else has got to be in charge, because your time is limited, but your ability to teach and pass that along is not limited. So if you teach, you pass it along, they teach and pass it along, and your business grows and grows and grows and grows and grows, then there are no limits to where you can go. But if you put the limitation on yourself of, well, I have to take care of everything because I can't trust anybody else to do this besides me, or if that silly, ridiculous absurdity, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. As long as you have this approach, you're limited by what you're capable of. You're limited by a 24-hour day. And the reality is you don't even have 24 hours in a day, because at some point your brain, even if you force your body to stay awake, your brain is going to shut off. There are entrepreneurs, I am one of them. I've heard stories of so many others that sat down at the keyboard, or they went into the lab, they broke out the pen and the pad, and whatever they did, they sat there for 34, 33, 36, 38 hours, 42 hours straight. And the reality is that comes to an end. You cannot do that forever. So ultimately, you've got to hire people. You've got to outsource. You've got to contract labor to other people. You've got to have people that you delegate responsibility to, that ultimately grow your business in new directions, and maybe even in the same directions, just bigger and bigger and bigger, because ultimately, as long as you're doing it, there is a cap. No one can outwork you. Yes, they can. There's always going to be someone that can outwork you. And if it's not one person, it'll be 2 people, 3 people, 4 people. Somebody else is already out there competing against you, and they may hire 4 people to do what you're doing. And you'll be like, well, I'm doing what 4 people are doing. That's good for you. But what about when they hire 20 and then they hire 100? Then they're crushing what you can do. They are. Ultimately, there's always somebody that can outwork you, and they can, and in these days of modern technology and the further advancements, they even got AI that can do what you do. So you're getting to yourself a place where you've got to be able to teach, educate, and outsource. You've got to let go of the reins a little bit and let someone else in. Take that to heart, and let's start developing skills of training, which training, some people aren't good trainers. So let's work on that. Let's build on that. Let's develop skill. Like, take the process that you do in your business every day. What do you do that's wasting a lot of your time? What do you need to do? See, that's what people miss, right? Is they don't really monetize their efforts, right? So actually sit down and monetize your efforts. How much does it take for you to do this? How much does it take for you to do this? How much does it take for you to do this? And lay out all the processes that you would do in a day, a typical day in your business to grow and develop your company. And whatever those things that you're doing are, what are the things that bring in the most money, that leave the least amount of effort, that you can be like, well, I can focus on this, or maybe that's the thing that I've already fine-tuned and I can pass that on to someone else because I know how I can tell 3 different people that they can do that, and then they're bringing in 3 times what I was bringing in by myself. And then I can fine-tune these other things, and then I can start teaching other people to do those things as well. And sometimes you may even need to hire coaches, consultants, things like that, and agencies, whatever you got to do. You get to a point where you need to call in that pro, that expert, that can really fine-tune what you're doing. And there are ways to approach that. And we'll talk about that in another post. But what I want you to take away from this is just the idea. I want you to get your head in the right place that you can accept that you will never do absolutely everything as good as everyone else. So therefore, you've got to position the right people in the right place in your business and hand over those reins, hand over that trust. Put your business in their capable hands, teach them and train them to be capable, and then see your business grow, flourish, and you can just smile while the money piles. You know what I'm saying? All right, it's your boy. Y'all stay tuned. Subscribe, and share this. Share this with your buddy. Share it with your friend. Email it, text it, post it on Facebook. I don't care. Share this with somebody because somebody else needs to know. I'm giving out free content here. This is YouTube. I am trying to get as much information out there so you and we can all develop financial freedom together. If you got any comments, if you got something that you think you could have added that maybe I would have left out, leave it below because it might help me, it might help somebody else. It's your boy, and I'm out.